The story is set in a dystopian world in which the vast majority of human beings perish because of a deadly virus. Since then, the survivors have waged wars over power, territories, and available resources following the chaotic events. We observe the protagonist, John Wood, who watches with much impotence as a man named Stone threatens to kill his wife, Amelia, if he does not reveal the whereabouts of 500 fugitives who had been injected and fled from his town. In response, John tells him he knows nothing and begs him to let his wife go. He even asks Stone to kill him instead. However, the man replies that it is his own fault before killing Amelia. Sometime later, John wakes up from a nightmare in his home, located in the middle of the forest, after a day of chopping wood, dragging logs, and doing deadlifts. He spends the night reading and drinking next to a small fireplace. At that moment, he has a flashback in which he remembers Stone, alongside his men, executing many infected people without mercy. When John opposes and tries to stop him, Stone halts him and calls him a traitor before knocking him out. Later, while continuing to drink, he has another flashback in which Stone explains that he killed his wife because she carried the deadly virus, which is accepted by the norms of the new society. Angry, John exclaims that she was never infected and that they should have first made sure she was. But Stone replies that she underwent a test. However, to be sure, he trusted his instinct. In response, John asks, "How many innocent people must die because of your instinct?" To which Stone replies that he will be examined since he is immune to the disease. Shortly after, John is taken to a laboratory to proceed with the examination. There, he immobilizes the doctor in order to escape, but is blocked again by his captor. After cutting his face, he tries to leave the place, only to be intercepted by several soldiers, whom he easily dispatches in the present. While sitting by a campfire, he notices a wounded girl wandering through the forest who asks for his help before fainting. The next morning, the girl wakes up, frightened by the unfamiliar environment, at which time John enters the room to promise her that he will not hurt her. He also tells her that her wound is infected and that the bullet must be removed, offering her alcohol for the pain. The girl asks his name and whether he is a doctor. When he does not ask any questions, she introduces herself automatically as Maria. During the procedure, John is alarmed to find a military tracking device in the bullet, so he asks her who is pursuing her, but she faints from the pain. Just then, he notices a barcode on her wrist. Shortly afterward, the girl wakes up and goes outside the cabin. She decides to join him while he chops wood, but he tells her that she can only stay for a few days because she wants to live in peace. After a nap, he notices the girl trying to chop wood, so he asks her to rest because of her wound. Then, while cutting wood, several soldiers visit him and ask about the whereabouts of a girl. When they mention that she is infected, he denies having seen her. At that moment, the men decide to search the place, and in that moment, Yona kills two of them. In a matter of seconds, a shot is heard coming from the house. Upon entering, he discovers that Maria has killed the last man with her shotgun. Afterwards, she sees John repairing his arsenal, so when she speculates about him, he replies that he is preparing for war. Because of this, Maria expresses that she wants to help him, so John gives her a mop to clean up the blood at the scene. While doing so, she cuts herself and goes in search of bandages. When she finds an empty bottle, an idea comes to her. On the other side, Grenade and the official Dr. Fellspat, under Stone's command, wait for the return of the soldiers who were sent in search of the girl. Meanwhile, other men are being trained at the location. Fellspat thinks they have been eliminated because they are disposable, so he suggests sending another team to investigate. But this only enrages the woman, who strikes the soldiers. When the trainer asks her to stop, she reprimands him, saying he should train them better. Back at the cabin, John asks Maria how she found him, and she says that she only remembers running through the forest after being shot, in addition to fearing that they might come looking for her. This confirms his doubts after he tells her about the tracking device. There, Maria asks if he wants her to leave, to which he replies that she can stay. He also mentions that the men said she was infected, but she tells him it is a long story. At that moment, John reveals that those people are responsible for his wife's murder. Tormented by his loss, he tells her that she will be safe, and in response, she hugs him. However, this only makes him remember his deceased wife even more. The next day, while Maria stands guard, John barricades and prepares his cabin for an attack by Stone. At this point, She notices that the man does not show any fear. That same night, the girl reveals that there is a cure for the deadly virus and that she wants to have it along the entire coast to gain control over the remaining population. She also reveals that the cure is found in her blood. All this makes John realize that she has invaded his peace and instead has attracted war to him. So he tries to push her away, but Maria begs him to help her take the cure to the survivors. Despite that, John ignores her and leaves her by the fire. The next day, Maria finds him cleaning his weapon, and he asks her how she learned to shoot. She responds that she survived by robbing people. After being arrested, she survived the virus while killing others. Therefore, she reveals that she is immune as well. Later, he trains her to perfect her shooting skills. Sometime later, a group of soldiers approaches his location. One of the men, named Dennis, jokes about John, calling him a buggy man of the forest. Then the team decides to kill him and split the reward for the capture of the girl. Meanwhile, John, who is keeping watch over the place, goes into the bathroom while Maria is cutting a steak. The mercenaries follow him to the place, but upon opening the doors, they discover that it is an ambush. John takes care of them all, even killing the last one with bow and arrow, who had taken Maria hostage. After stacking the corpses, he tells her that his cabin has only one entrance, and that they have 30 minutes before reinforcements arrive. Nervously, she asks him how they will stop them. At that moment, he shows her his extensive arsenal, and both prepare for the attack. John, for his part, applies some Nordic paint on his face and asks Maria to go get water. Unfortunately, when she goes to collect the water, she is ambushed by Felspat, who states that they have their target and hurries to report it. However, John appears suddenly and kills the squad. Unfortunately, the officer escapes and calls for reinforcements. An irritated Stone orders that he be disposed of without harming the target. Meanwhile, the duo wipes out the remaining soldiers on the ground, leaving them in disbelief. When they finish, John suggests that they should get rid of all the corpses to intimidate their enemies. For his part, Stone becomes enraged at the many losses in his troops, so he assigns a team to investigate the area. However, the search group runs into Johnny and Maria, who are ready to open fire at the enemy base. Tony and his men plan an ambush through a tunnel in the forest. Felspat confronts John while Maria hides a vial in a bush. Moments later, she is ambushed. Surprisingly, she is able to take care of them, whereas millions, or many if this was intended, are defeated. On the other hand, a mercenary shoots Maria, leaving her immobilized. Luckily, John wakes up and heads toward the girl, but as expected, she ends up being kidnapped. Shortly afterward, the man finds his rival in the tunnels, leading to a fight. At that moment, many troops are sent to eliminate John. Meanwhile, after an exhausting battle, he kills Felspat. Both of them are then ambushed by many soldiers. But despite fighting them, John receives a shot. After this, they manage to hide in a secret room where he tells Maria that she must wait there while he faces the others. Although Maria objects because she does not want him to be left alone, he implores her to stay. When they exit the tunnels, we see that John's wounds are very severe. At that place, he is received by Stone, who, after talking for a few minutes, reveals that they are brothers, and that he himself changed his surname because he always thought Wood sounded weak. Moreover, he hated their father, who preferred his brother. Then he asks him about Maria, but John says that he killed her. In disbelief, Stone mocks him for not being able to kill an innocent person, which gives him an opening to be beaten by the soldiers so that they can make him say what they want. However, despite the beating, he does not say a word. Frustrated, Stone orders his men to kill him, but his brother calls him a coward before challenging him to a death fight. Despite his wounds, John defeats his brother, although he does not finish him off. For his part, in a fit of rage, Stone takes a weapon and points it at him, but for some reason, he is unable to shoot him. This leads them to a struggle for the weapon, which ends up discharging and killing Stone. There, Grant thanks him for sparing him the trouble since he was planning to take care of him. Suddenly, Maria appears with Grenade and asks them to leave John in peace in exchange for a deal. She will leave with them if they let him go free, so Grant accepts. At that moment, I see a helicopter leaving the place while vowing to find her. In the last scene, the mercenaries celebrate that they have the cure, which means they have the power to establish a new world order. However, they are unaware that Maria left 3 vital drops of her blood with John along with instructions to give it to the people so that they can develop a cure and save humanity.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.